sports. Taking a little walk this morning instead of running. I've been on vacation, man, for what, shit, 2 weeks? Now it's time to get out here, get back into my routine. And during the routine, man, we can get our cardio in. We're gonna walk. And I'm there in Alabama by my brother, man. We're fishing and just chilling. Not exercising the way I should. But anyway, let's just jump right into this live. Hey, what's going on out there in Vegas? Oh, shit. Hold on 1 second. What's up, man? Hey, Chinchilla, can you hear me? Just type something and let me know that you can hear me, man. I just put these earpods on. Sometimes they don't act right. So just type something and let me know you can hear me. Okay, boom. Yeah, man. Big fight going on. It's crazy. I was sitting there thinking, I was sitting there watching the fight. Well, watching yesterday. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know what to think about Las Vegas. They say Las Vegas is Sin City, but you got what's his name? Spence and Crawford, right? I'm watching these guys, looking at them, concerned about the weight cut for Earl Spence. And man, it sounds to me like Terrence Crawford, and at the initial weigh-in, came overweight, like 1.2 pounds or something like that. And Earl Spence, it sounds like he hit it the first time. Crawford had to go back to try to make the weight. And if that's true, yeah, hey man, that's not a good sign. Here we are thinking it's Earl Spence who's going to, well, we know that him making the weight is never fun, but it sounds like he'd be the one to struggle. And somehow Earl Spence hits it first time out. Now, I'm going to tell you, like you guys, a lot of y'all know already, and I've done videos on this, but a lot of you guys just know when you're cutting weight and you get there to that moment of time and you don't make it, in order for him to drop that 1.2 pounds, the things he has to do, that stuff can be extreme. So that means he had to go and put additional work in instead of rehydrating. But he got it done. Those guys are professionals. But for me, it's like, damn, he couldn't even just take off. Sometimes guys take off their boxer shorts or whatever, cover themselves up, and make the weight. He missed the mark, man. Crawford yeah, that's true. He missed the mark. But yeah, Crawford is almost 36. He may be 36. And something just seemed a little bit off. But nonetheless, we're talking about the fight, man. I really like everything that I'm seeing with these guys. Word is he missed it twice. Third time he was there. Damn, could you imagine if Crawford would have missed that weight and been stripped of his WBO title? Would have fought Spence, beat Spence, and would I don't think he would have been able to fight for the title if he gets stripped, even if he wins. Man, that would have been horrible. What up, Hood? What's going on? What's going on, Cornelius? I got Crawford in this fight, and I got Spence in the second fight. I'm telling y'all right now, like you all, I see this as a 50-50 fight, right? But some earlier this week when I saw Spence, because he was complaining about the weight, I didn't understand why he was complaining. He always talks about how hard it is, but when Spence was complaining and saying, hey, making this damn weight, cutting weight, I know it's not fun. I know they get cranky. But to me, that was a sign that, okay, if Crawford is on target and his weight and him making 147 is easier, then that's going to give him a little bit of an advantage, because I thought maybe for Spence, who I thought was struggling to make that weight cut, I said, okay, Spence may have already defeated himself by trying to cut weight, and that gives Crawford an advantage going into the ring. But that being said, I had Crawford within 8 rounds, possibly stopping what I felt was we're going to get a drained Earl Spence. But that don't seem to be the case. When Cheatham is a judge. He's there for a reason. Next fight, 154. Yeah, no doubt, man. That's I'm gonna be paying attention to who they. I saw they put the list, and I can't remember the names, but those judges, the referee, everything, man. Because I'm gonna get on this thing about the referees and the judges, but and something they said about Earl Spence being built up. He's a favorite to win. My thing is this, right? Now that we got the weight issue kind of out of the way, but we know it seemed to have been Crawford struggling to make the weight. I still feel with Earl Spence and his volume punching, Crawford's going to catch him on an exchange at some point. Harvey Deck. Okay, Harvey Deck is the ref. And I do agree that next fight's at 154, no doubt. But part of me feels that Spence is going to be stepping to it at some point. I just see early in that fight. This is something that people keep talking about, right? The fight's going to go the distance. This fight, I just don't see it going the distance. How in the world can you expect Crawford and Spence, two guys who get in the ring and normally stop opponents, right? To be honest, they both need to move up to 154. They both look so bad, especially Crawford. When you get old, it's hard to cut weight. Oh, yo, I know. I'm 48 now, man. That metabolism starts slowing down in my 30s. But I understand. But this thing about the fight going the distance, how is Crawford, and how does someone predict Crawford and Spence go 12 rounds? I just don't care. I just don't see it. Crawford's knocked everybody out at 147. It doesn't matter who he fought. The bottom line is he knocked people out. Earl Spence gets in there and destroys people. So all of a sudden, these two guys who are absolute killers in the ring, all of a sudden they're gonna get in there and turn this shit into a tickling contest, and they're gonna allow it to go the distance. They're not gonna let that happen. They don't understand. They don't have that mentality. You better believe they're gonna go at it, man. What's up, Luna? Today's the day. Hell yeah, today's the day, man. I can't wait. Chinchilla says, either man to be knocked down. Hell yeah, I believe it. But what I was saying is, I believe with Earl Spence, and man, he just does everything. Everything is just so wonderful when you watch Earl Spence in the ring. You know, upstairs, downstairs, coming behind the jab, double jab, left hand, get you on the rope, pin you on the ropes. Go upstairs, downstairs, step aside. Like, everything Earl Spence does is amazing. You've heard people comment about Earl Spence, and the way he fights is exactly like how he hits the heavy bag. When I first heard that, I never thought about it. So I started paying attention, and it is true. When he gets that person in front of him, he goes to work on them. And if he puts his head into their chest, it's just like, you know, if you got somebody in front of you and you're looking down at the ground, you can see where their feet are. If I can see your feet, I know where your body is, I know where your head is. And Earl Spence just goes to work. He can hold you in position. He's gonna beat the shit out of you. He's gonna break you down. But the thing is with Terrence Crawford, I just think the early rounds, it's gonna be interesting, but there's more of a chance for Crawford to catch him. But as the fight goes on, it's gonna be interesting, man, because Earl Spence, as we all know, it doesn't matter if you're a Crawford fan, a Spence fan. Earl Spence, once he starts to gain momentum, he just starts to pull away. And I'm not saying he's going to be able to easily do that against Crawford. But the same way I could sit here and say Crawford can catch him in those exchanges, Crawford has that power in both hands, those early rounds where they're both fresh, Crawford fights with his eyes, there's a good chance. Sometimes Earl Spence, he will reach, and that's a mistake he can't make with Crawford. And he'll go to that body. Crawford told him, go ahead and go to the body if you want. He can't do that because Crawford touches him anywhere on that temple, that side of the head, anywhere. Earl Spence is going to be in trouble. And somebody said something, and you could leave in the comments whether you agree with this or not. I don't necessarily agree with it. Somebody told me that because Earl Spence was in a car accident and they felt that Yugas was able to hit Earl Spence and hurt him, they said they felt that his chin and his jaw is no longer as strong as it was because of the car accident. And if Yugas could hurt him, Crawford's going to kill him. And I just didn't agree with that. I don't think the car accident has anything to do with Spence's punch resistance. I think that's all nonsense, if you ask me, man. He says, I don't think Spence will get caught. I do think Spence will get caught a few times. Yeah, Spence does get hit, man. And Crawford gets hit too. So now we talked about Crawford fighting with his eyes, seeing everything that's coming. And Crawford has extremely long arms. Spence may be a quote unquote big man, right? Crawford has long arms, man. Power in both fists. Makes it interesting. Now, when it comes to Earl Spence, he's just banging away. You know, you get some fighters, they get in the ring. You ever watch Miguel Cotto fight? When Miguel Cotto starts letting his hands go, Miguel Cotto, he stopped beating you down. That's who Earl Spence reminds me of. When Earl Spence gets in that ring, he's left-handed. Fights as a southpaw. Cotto was left-handed but fought orthodox. But it's very similar, their styles, man. Cotto could box. He tended to box a little bit more. And he was a magnificent boxer. But what I'm getting at is when Cotto started to beat his opponents to the body, he didn't care if he hit your shoulder. He didn't care if he hit your arm. He didn't care if he hit you behind your back. He didn't care if he hit you in your damn leg, your balls, your butt. Cotto didn't care. He was just there to break you down. He didn't care. And you've seen Cotto in numerous fights where, like Spence, he gets hit, he gets hurt, and then what happens? He comes back, sticks to the game plan. He believed in that left hook, and he would just go to work. And when he stopped banging them guys all in the body, it was over. Crush you, yeah, hell yeah. Just totally crush you. Let me read some of these comments. Got Bud, had him by KO, but flopped to a decision win. This fight is when an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object. Crush you. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Unstoppable force, unmovable object, man. That's absolutely what this is. You know, and that's why for me, I want to see if both of them, because I got to be fair, if they can both get out of them first 4 or 5 rounds, because I think they're both gonna be surprised at what each other brings to the table. But I'm kind of leaning towards Crawford to land a very nice counter that Spence may not see. See, but after that, it could be all problems for Crawford because sometimes he likes to go back and counter you. But when he counters, Crawford doesn't throw like a 5-punch combination, and I don't think he's going to be able to let off like a 5-punch combination to counter anything Spence is doing. It'll probably be more like a pop shot or like I said before, he'll throw that 2-3 or 3-2 depending on what position he's in. But Spence never stops punching. So although Crawford's going to counter, if he doesn't land that counter, he's going to get hit with something by Spence. Because Spence is always in position to let his hands go. It's like in basketball. You got to be in a triple threat position. You know what I'm saying? You're either ready to shoot, you're ready to drive. You know what I'm saying? You got to be in a triple threat position. In boxing, you got to always have your feet planted and be ready to let your hands go or get out the way. And I think that's where Crawford could have some problems. Because just like we could say Crawford as a counterpuncher, that gives him the advantage. Well, at the same time, if he misses, Spence is firing. And that is going to make the crowd go crazy. And it's going to make us go crazy as well. This boils down, in my opinion, and I think you guys understand my logic when I say this, it's like Pacquiao Marquez. You know, when you had Pacquiao come in the ring, he was all volume, strong, explosive, letting those hands go, chasing you around the ring. When you start to wilt, Pacquiao starts to unload even more firepower. The thing with Marquez, what was Marquez doing? You throw your shots. He never took his eyes off of the opponent. And then out of nowhere, Marquez just starts countering people and just starts tearing people up all of a sudden. And you see a fight where Marquez is like he's getting hurt or gets touched. He comes back, and round after round, he just starts to take over the fight, break guys down, and knock them out. And that's Terence Crawford. So to me, this is just like a Pacquiao Marquez. Now, I'm not saying it's the exact same thing, but as far as the styles, there's some similarities there, man. Absolutely amazing. And we could peel it back even further when people are talking about Hagler and Hearns. That's a fair comparison too. My boy said, man down, put him in the dirt. Hey, that could happen. That's what's so interesting. That really is. But what I'm going to be paying attention in the first 6 rounds, if the fight doesn't end in the first 6 rounds, because it could go either way. I'm going to be looking at conditioning, man. That's my concern. The conditioning, the weight cut. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know the weight cut was so hard on Terence Crawford, man. People keep talking about Terence Crawford, but is it me? Or did Terence Crawford look like he put on muscle? Did anybody notice that? Did y'all notice that Terence Crawford's muscles? Yeah, Hearn, yeah. Oh, Hearn, Hagler Leonard, huh? Okay, yeah, that's a good one too. Salute Hood, what's going on, Chip? Is it me or did Terence Crawford during the weigh-in? Although he looked really ripped. I still find Terence Crawford's chest, it looked like he had a pump to him. And that comes from like lifting weights. It didn't look. I saw the striations. He had the streamlined physique. He looked like he was ready to fight. He lucky made the weight cut, but to me, something about Terence Crawford, it looked like he had a little bit of a pump to him, like maybe he did a lot of weight training. Crawfish, yeah, Crawford put on muscle, right? That's what I thought. I know I'm not crazy, man. He said, yeah, Crawford on the Conti cocktail. Crawford packed on some mass. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, I talk about them cocktails, the Conti cocktail. These guys out here, man, taking them cocktails, man. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of fighters are taking that, but does Crawford works with does he work with Victor Conti and Snack? Because if so, that's a whole other conversation, man. I know what's his name does. Devin Haney does. I think Charlo and Plant does. And then I know like Yugas, Benavidez, and a lot of other fighters work with Heredia. So I'd be very interested to find out if, in fact, Crawford or Spence had any dealings with a Heredia or a Conti and a Riza. And I know for sure they weren't working with no Usman Sadat, but I'd be interested to know that, man. I'm joking about the cocktail. Hold on. Crawford says Spence was shredded as well, both looking gladiator form. Yes, we will be snack. Yes, we will snack. A lot of boxers do. Yeah, that's what I thought. He says Spence is the unstoppable force. Crawford is the unmovable object. But what happens when? Sorry, the sun is the sun is creating a glare. What happens when the unmovable object activity moves? Object actually moves. Is going to make a problem for the unstoppable force. Yeah, no doubt. But back on what I was saying, I wonder if those guys had some. I know Spence had nutrition, dietitian, but I know those guys aren't cheats. No way in the world those guys are cheats. But I wonder if they decided to try something a little different, especially on Crawford's part, to try to make sure he could handle Spence coming at him and trying to be physical. Because that's a part of the fight that I think is definitely going to play to the advantage of Errol Spence. Although we talked a lot about Terence Crawford and his background as a wrestler, I don't think people are giving him credit for that. But at the same time, with Errol Spence, he seemed to be very comfortable in the middle of the ring, or up against the ropes. He's comfortable with inside fighting. He's comfortable with getting elbowed in the face, forearm in the face, headbutts. Like, Spence is okay with that because he's bringing that same kind of energy back to whoever he's fighting. And what you notice during the rounds, Spence always seems to get the edge when it's a firefight. You saw that with Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia wasn't able to handle that. You saw that with Lamont Peterson. You saw that with Sean Porter. You saw that with Julius. Once Earl Spence decides, once he gets an opportunity to really impose his style on the fighter, it's over. And once they start getting tired, it seems like he gets more energy. Then it's all downhill. And I can tell you from experience, man, it is not fun. I've been on both sides of sparring and fighting where I was the guy in shape or I was the guy getting the best of the other person. And you've seen them mentally start breaking down the ring to where the coach would stop it or the referee would stop it. But during sparring, I've been on that other side to where I wasn't in the shape I should have been in, just thinking I'm gonna do some friendly sparring, and shit, that shit turned to life or death. And I'm telling you, when you got somebody like Spence in front of you, and you getting tired, it's all downhill. I'm just telling you from experience, man. It is all downhill. So the next thing that concerned me is Terence Crawford too emotional right now? Because Earl Spence, some of the guys on his team were insulting him, being very disrespectful. So much so to where Terence Crawford, who was trying to set the right example, he didn't want this event to be a negative spectacle. He didn't want it to be overshadowed with horrible reports on TMZ and everything. And Spence and Crawford, fighting at the weigh-in, shooting, scuffles taking place. Like he didn't want it to be that kind of event. But he lost his cool because the guy from Spence's team was being pretty disrespectful. So he ended up losing his cool. Now people are saying Crawford's too emotional. I don't think so. I think Crawford's keeping it together. Once they get in that ring, I tell y'all this from experience. When you get into that ring, and if you're not really awake, the first time you get punched in the face, you wake up, and everything comes together. I'm just telling y'all, man. I remember my very first fight, walking out into that damn ring, and I was just, I don't know, like it's gonna be a sparring session. The dude hit me, woke my ass up real quick. I'm just saying, I don't think Crawford's too emotional, but my concern is Bomac. I'm concerned about Bomac, man. He says, let me look at his comments. It's hard to see him, boy. Although he didn't get the KO, Spence beat the hell out of Mikey Garcia. Yeah, Spence is the one that forced Mikey Garcia to retire. That's how we gonna get him. He too emotional, man. Get off him. Yeah, that's right. I heard Spence say that. Bud was emotional a little yesterday. Yep. At least yesterday, Spence didn't look that much bigger. Today may be a different story. Yeah, that rehydration can be huge. But it was my concern is the trainers. The trainers. I didn't realize that Bud had, like 3 trainers, man. I always thought it was Bomac, and maybe he got an assistant. But I'm not sure what role the other trainers play, because it doesn't sound like they're assistant trainers. It sounds like they have an equal role, a role equal to Bomac. Bomac is the head trainer. He's the guy who makes the decisions, but it sounds like those guys, they have an equal voice. And if they say something, Bomac stops and listens. So it sounds to me like they have a good rapport, and whatever they're doing is working for Crawford. But that almost sounds to me like it's going to be too many voices in Crawford's corner. But it could be a good thing, because that explains why Crawford, in that round before he came out to knock out Sean Porter, where there was so many people talking to him, and he's looking at everybody, but his one voice was telling him, like, yo, you're down. And Crawford, it was like, I'm down. And then he ended up saying, okay, I got it. He went up there and stopped Porter. But I didn't understand at that time why he wasn't listening to Bomac in his corner, because he has several trainers. Now, if the real deal gets started, I was concerned that, damn, if Crawford is losing, what's Bomac going to tell him? But Crawford has several trainers. So that makes sense, that if Bomac doesn't know what to do, then those other trainers, between the 3 of them, they should be able to figure it out. Now with Spence, obviously Derek James knows what he's doing. He used to fight too. We know Bomac used to fight, but come on, let's not take it to the stupid on Bomac as a professional fighter. But he used to fight. But Derrick James, there's a lot of layers to him. He understands boxing. I don't think Earl Spence will have any problem uh, as far as understanding what Derrick James is asking him to do. And I don't think he's going to have any problem with as far as Derrick James knowing the changes or the tweaks that need to be made round after round. But if the real deal starts, and I would say if Spence finds himself on the losing end of exchanges, I think he has an upper hand with his trainer, Derrick James, as far as the knowledge base. I think he has more of an advantage than Crawford. Now, I'm not saying Crawford's team don't know what they're doing. These guys are exceptional trainers. I just think Derrick James, in my opinion, just looking at what he's done with Frank Martin, even, he's working with AJ, but can't really count anything AJ's done yet. And what he's done with Jamel, and what he's done with Earl Spence, Derrick James will be able to handle that drama that's going on in the ring. But at the end of the day, it's it's hard to say, man. I don't understand how people can be out here saying Terrence Crawford is going to get ran through, Earl Spence is going to get ran through. I think somebody can get knocked out early, but just come and just get ran through like they don't belong in the ring. I don't see that happening. Not at all, man. Bud was tripping when he said he never had a fight when he looked bad or maybe losing. Yeah, but I don't know, man. When I listen to these guys talk, man, sometimes they say some stuff that I'm just like, where the hell did that come from? You know, I really, I tell you what, he can say what he want. They can say what they want when they're in front of the camera, but they know deep down when they get hurt in fights, when they look a little bad in fights. Um, so they don't need to come out and tell me that. As long as they're being honest with themselves when they're at home at night laying down or they're taking a ride and they're in the car by themselves, they know what time it is. It's just like Earl Spence talking about. I was the exact. I was tripping when he said that. Yeah, yeah, hell yeah. Yes, I had to stop and think about that. It's like when Bud fought. We know he beat Gamboa, and that was years ago. But Gamboa had his moments. But then you see when Bud fought Benavidez. I don't care what anybody says. That David Benavidez fight, if that would have been a healthy David Benavidez, man, hey, you saw how them first few rounds went, didn't you? It wasn't no easy fight for Terrence Crawford. And then Terrence Crawford fighting Sean Porter, that was a bit of a tough fight for him. But that being said, Bud Crawford, man, once he decides to go into the phone booth and turn into southpaw, man, that's normally when the fight goes left. The same way he goes to his left hand, becomes a southpaw. He goes left, the fight goes left for his opponents, man. And it is just amazing to see him be able to do that. But going in there against Earl Spence is a little bit different, man. We talk about Crawford and Benavidez. Spence doesn't have a damaged leg. Spence isn't going to get tired as the fight goes on. Spence isn't going to sit there and allow himself to be mentally defeated. So we got to just throw that out the window. Sean Porter, I don't know what happened with him and his dad. The dad saying that Sean Porter wasn't doing what he needs to do in training. So we could throw that out the window when it comes to Terrence Crawford and his experience with Sean Porter and the fact he was able to get him out of there. I'm going to consider that a win, but it makes you wonder if that was a fluke because Sean Porter's dad came out and basically took the credit away from Crawford's win by saying his son wasn't prepared. That being said, Crawford going in here, and then with the Kell Brook fight, that's the same thing, man. Crawford knocked that man out with it's like a jab, man. People saying the same thing. Kell Brook wasn't, it was beyond his prime. That being said, Earl Spence is in his prime. But if Crawford is to beat him, you know what people are going to say? It was the car accident. And that's just not cool. And now the whole thing with Earl Spence, my question to you guys, right? Who do you think wins? I'm going to tell you right now. I, Man, who do I think wins, man? Shit. I'm gonna tell you, it's a 50-50 fight. But I no longer feel because earlier this week I put a prediction out, which I normally don't do with these kind of fights. But earlier this week I thought Crawford would stop Spence within 8 rounds. I did because the reason why I felt that way is because I thought Earl Spence was gonna struggle with the weight cut because he kept complaining about how he just cutting the weight sucks for him. And when he was complaining, I was like, damn, Crawford's not saying anything. Earl Spence is complaining, but in that may mean that Earl Spence probably defeated himself already. So then I said, okay, well I think Crawford, if that's the case, Crawford may stop him within 8 because if he's struggling to make the weight, then that's going to show up in the ring. You know, if you have to kill yourself and go days just taking little chips of ice and doing those little hot baths and putting on sauna suits and all that crap, that kills a person's body, and also it affects I think the fluid surrounding their brain. Then they can become dehydrated, so that's why they come and rehydrate. So I put all that together. That's why I predicted that Crawford would stop him within 8. However, I'm gonna tell you right now, if Crawford is the one that had the issue with the weight cut, I gotta say the same thing, man. I gotta say the same thing. Maybe Spence gets him out of there because I gotta see how they look. Because the rehydration part is critical. But if Crawford had to do something extreme to make that weight, let me tell you something. I don't have a dog in the fight. I think it's 50-50. But when I make these predictions, I try to understand what could give the other opponent an advantage. And let me tell y'all something. This right here, I didn't know until you guys told me just now that it took Crawford his 3rd attempt to make the weight. I didn't know that. That means Crawford had to do something extreme to get that last bit of weight. They're not saying what he did. They're not letting us know. But if it really took Crawford 3 times to make the weight, that's a problem. You know how hard it is to lose uh, 0.5 pounds when you don't have nothing left to give? Man, that's crazy, man. So I think Crawford may have put on too much muscle. I think what Crawford had to try to cut into, was water, but I think he may have went and put on too much muscle. And at the end of the day, why in the world will Crawford and his team have him bulking up? No, it's okay to come in the fight smaller and lighter than a guy. Goddamn, you ain't learned from Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder came out here, knocking everybody out. Deontay Wilder running around in the ring about 150 pounds. Deontay Wilder fighting that heavyweight at 150 pounds, knocking everybody out. Fool gets in there with Tyson Fury for the 3rd fight. Man goes up to like 240 pounds, 230 pounds, something crazy, instead of saying that 210, 208, 211. So for me, that's something else that, you got to be real about. It may not work out well for Terence Crawford if that muscle affects his performance. And we're going to know. We're going to know. There's a lot to take into consideration, man. But right now, I honestly don't know. I still think early in the fight, Bud has a chance. But as the fight goes on, I think it starts to favor the fight, favors Earl Spence. So, and then when you think about Crawford, the weight issue, and you think about Crawford and this whole damn putting on muscle mass, it just don't see that being a good thing. Let me try to get to some of these comments. Let me pull up in this shade. Man, it's hot as hell out here in Texas. Let me get in the shade, man, so I can get these comments. Because I cannot see this damn screen, this Texas sun. All right, I'm in the shade now. Let's see. Let me, he says, who do you think wins? I tell you, I think early Crawford, late Spence. But I did have Crawford knockout within 8. But all that stuff going on with Crawford, right now, I don't know. I have 1,000 confidence in Spence. I could understand why, especially with Crawford and the muscle mass and not making weight for like, on to the third try. I won't, I won't, I want to give full credit and props to the winner and support the loser, whatever they do for this great fighting event. I hear you view both sides of the spectrum, but may favor one or the other sometimes. Exactly. Why put on masks like that when you struggle to make weight? Yeah, man. Damn, let me go this way. Damn dog. Let me walk. There's a damn dog trying to jump over the fence. Shit, I may have to, it may turn to Inuit Fulton out here if that damn Rottweiler come over that fence. I'm gonna have to knock that Rottweiler out. Let me go the opposite way. But yeah, like we were saying, it's really hard to sit here and just blindly say who's gonna win. But speaking of that, right? I think we could go all day talking about those guys. What the hell's going on with the Charlo brothers, man? What's wrong with them Charlo brothers? What the hell is going on? Those guys are twins, man. Why are they trying to fight each other? Stupid. I just don't get it, man. Now, I'll tell you what. For Earl Spence and Terence Crawford, the fight was selling itself. You know what I mean? What did you say? Pimp slap Plant. Oh, man. All Caleb Plant needed was some powder in his hand. If he would have had some powder in his hand, oh, hell, man. That would have been the perfect pimp slap. But Earl Spence and Terence Crawford, as far as them promoting the fight sells itself. But it was nice to see things get a little spicy with Terence Crawford going back and forth with the guy from Earl Spence's camp. That was nice to see Crawford sit there, get a little emotional. I'm not really big on the use of the N-word and all that, but I get it. You know what I mean? I was young once. But it was nice to see that. It's like, damn, it's like it goes from like eating a Taki chip to doing the one chip challenge type of spice. You know what I mean? I was like, that shit went from eating like Tabasco to eating some damn habaneros, you know? I was like, man, they spiced that up really nice. Then you got the trainers going at it. I'm like, wow, that's the spice the fight needed. And then yesterday, talk about taking it to the stupid. The Charlos and Plant, they went all out, didn't they? Now, in case y'all didn't know, let me explain this to y'all. Jamal got smacked by Plant. Yeah, no, that was a gorilla slap. You know, that wasn't just no regular slap. Caleb Plant put the hand of God on him. I was like, yo. And you know, Caleb Plant's naturally left-handed. Somebody was saying, why didn't Caleb Plant drop the straight right on him? Because he's naturally left-handed. That's why he lost against Benavidez. Because everything with Caleb Plant is his jab and hook. Because he's naturally left-handed. He fights as an orthodox fighter. So when he came in and dropped that dropped the hand of God on him, I couldn't understand why Caleb Plant did that. But anyway, I did my research. So let me tell y'all what the hell was going on over there. First of all, Jamal and Jermell Charlo were getting into it. All right? Something about Jamal was shouting at Jermell about putting his hand on some female or maybe on his ex-wife or whatever. Because Jamal's ex-wife was there with him. Makes you wonder what the hell going on, you know, in that relationship. But nonetheless, they were getting into it, and then there was a gate that separated outside from the inside. Some of the security, they pulled the gate down, right? Because they didn't want those guys to start fighting. Anyway, my understanding is Caleb Plant was trying to talk to Jamal and just, calm him down. Like, nah, you don't need to do that. Anyway, what's his name? Jamal must have grabbed Caleb Plant. He touched his face and grabbed his beard like twice, I think. And Caleb Plant had warned him, like, hey, do that shit again. Anyway, he did it again. So then, what's his name? Derek James was trying to de-escalate the situation because Derek James, he felt like, you could tell that Plant was angry. He knew that it could go left. So Derrick James tried to de-escalate it. But Plant was already in the red zone, you know what I mean? Anyway, Derrick James goes on about his business. Plant comes up to Jamal, and that's why Jamal was standing there. He looked a little bit lost. Let me get in the shade and I'll read the comments. I got it. Let me get around this corner. Give me about 3 minutes. I'll get to these comments, man. I cannot see this screen, but this damn Texas Sun's no joke. But anyway, that's why Jamal was standing there. He did not expect Plant to slap him. He thought maybe Plant was just gonna come up to him and they just start jawing at each other. But I tell you what, even though when you watch when Plant walks up to him, just me being a guy who's been around the way, although I'm a changed man now, retired, got my 4 sons, love everybody, hate nobody, I'm just trying to win in life. I tell you what, there's some things that just don't leave you. You can feel the energy coming off of somebody. You can watch in their body language, watch their eyes. If somebody's coming towards you with aggression, you don't just stand there thinking that you're so bad that they're not going to do anything to you. Jamal Charlo could have got shot, could have got stabbed, could have got a bottle broken in his face because he stood there and let his guard down because he thought it was lions only. And that is not what happened. Caleb Plant ran up on him with the ill left hook slap. That left hook slap was so crazy, man. It was so fast that I thought he punched him. I'm almost in the shade. I'll get to the comments. I thought he punched him because Jamal Charlo, he buckled a little bit and then he caught himself and it was more like, what the hell just happened? And that's why he stood there like, come on, man, you gonna slap me? Because and like he just couldn't process what happened. But that's what caused it, is Jamal doing foolishness. Even Derrick James said Jamal Charlo deserved it. He said it was warranted, basically. So there was obviously Charlo doing the Charlo thing and it didn't work out. Says Jamal got smacked. Maul grabbed his throat. Oh, it was the throat first. I just heard about the grabbing the beard and the face. They have to fight now. It's facts now, right? Hell yeah, they got to fight now. Mel wife whooped Maul's ex-wife. Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy. You should have known something was coming back after grabbing him. Yeah, you can't. If you guys could please hit the like button, I'd appreciate it, man. You can't put your hands on somebody. Now, tell me if y'all agree with this, right? Now, I think Caleb Plant, if Caleb Plant would have never got slapped by Canelo and everybody making fun of him, because we're all adults here, right? So I'm just going to say what it is, right? Well, let's just peel it all the way back. Caleb Plant talks about growing up in a trailer park, being poor. He was a white guy who could box. Him growing up, now I'm just giving you the backstory. I'm not saying I agree, disagree, feel sorry for nobody. That's not how I operate on this channel. I'm just giving you all the backstory. He was a white kid who could box and basically was always underestimated. Oh, the white boy, the white boy, the white boy. And people want to challenge him and whip his ass because they felt they could whip his ass because he was a white boy. And that wasn't the case. So Caleb Plant carries that with him. So fast forward to the stuff happened with that fool. What's that fool's name, man? No, first Canelo. So now he goes out there. Canelo shoves him. Caleb Plant feels that. I'm sure he relives that every time he goes through some kind of physical altercation. He tries to slap Canelo. Well, we know what Canelo did to him. So now after that, Caleb Plant, people, Caleb, he sucks, he's this. And they bring the race thing into it again, which isn't cool. But that's just what these jackasses do on social media. So Caleb Plant has to walk around with that. He goes into the Canelo fight, he gets knocked out. All that stuff, he's a hype job, white boy who can't fight, blah, blah, blah. He has to carry that with him. Comes back, knocks out that guy, man. He got the brother, man, them boys. I forgot their names, man. Anthony Darrell, whatever name, whichever Darrell it is. He knocked him out with the left hook. So Plant feeling good about himself. Now you fast forward to him walking there in the casino, and he trying to stop the twin brothers from fighting. And then Jamal decides he wants to grab on him and play badass. And I'm telling you, Caleb Plant relived all that crap as a young man, all that crap since he turned pro, that Canelo crap, all that. And he was like, I'm not going to let him get away with that. And I'm sure that's what Jamal Charlo ran into, was a Caleb Plant that's not going to let anybody chump him, punk him, and think that just because he's a white guy from the trailer park, that you're going to come out here and bully him. And that's why he reacted that way, because word on the street is, I hear charges are being pressed against Caleb Plant. I'm not saying they're wrong or right, but come on now. If you go and put your hands on somebody, even though the situation's over, you've gone your way, they've gone their way. If they come back and they slap you, punch you, or whatever they do to me, you shouldn't go run and press charges. Because when you get down to the root cause of the flare-up, if it's you, you got to eat that. That's my opinion, man. You can't go out there and get the damn police involved because Caleb Plant slapped smoke out of you. He slapped Texas barbecue out your mouth. He slapped a damn Houston hush puppy out your mouth. You know what I mean? That's just not what you should be doing. But some people feel sorry for. Let me see if I can read these comments. Yeah, Mel's wife, he said, you should have known something was coming back. Hell yeah. Plant only thing is he gassed his gas tank. He elite class boxer. Yeah, that's true. He'll gas, but my thing is this whole thing about Jamal, right? People are feeling sorry for Jamal Charlo. And my thing is this. I don't feel sorry that Jamal got slapped yesterday. I don't. Because although you're going through things, you can't just come out there and put your hands on people. But for what Jamal Charlo is going through over the last few years with his wife, I'm watching that, and that shit hits home with me, man. I'm telling you, I've had to deal with people who are subordinate to me, going through that, and I see how that eats at them. I see how that takes their mind starts to deteriorate, their performance at work starts to deteriorate. They're no longer motivated to do the things that made them happy. And I can tell you from personal experience, because I've gone through that. You know what I mean? And to see him going through that makes me feel bad for him. You got 5 kids with this woman, and who knows what all has happened in that relationship. Who knows what he's done, you know what I mean? So you got to be fair. There's 2 sides. But you could tell the fact that she was with him yesterday, right? This is what people need to understand about toxic relationships. You got the honeymoon stage. It's like when you first meet somebody. Y'all all googly eyes over each other, having a whole lot of sex. You're doing fun things. Oh, we're so in love. It's the honeymoon stage. We get married. Things are great. Then over time, you start to see some things that maybe you don't really like. Now the honeymoon stage ends. You have a disagreement. This is where it gets dangerous if you don't know how to deal with confrontation, if you don't know how to express yourself. Because everyone's going to go through it. It's just how do you deal with it? And if 2 people know how to deal with it and they have adult to adult exchanges, well, you can kind of remain in that honeymoon stage. But when you don't know how to do that, you may be the one with, I would say, the adult in the situation. Your spouse may be the one who takes the position of the child with the smart mouth, the rolling of the neck, the I don't care, wanting to throw shit, slam doors. Now you got an adult to child exchange. That doesn't work. So what happens now, you go from the honeymoon stage to this stage where you get some stress. And then it goes on to the next stage to where it becomes toxic. And this is where domestic violence happens, cheating happens, and all kind of other stuff. And once you get into that cycle, what happens, something bad has to happen. And then the person Normally the victim, they start to feel bad for the person who who ended up looking bad in the relationship. And then because of that, called victim's guilt, all of a sudden they start hugging, kissing, sex, and everything again. They end up back in the honeymoon stage. But for a short period of time, because the person who was done wrong, and unless they can really get some counseling and get beyond it, they never get beyond it. And at some point, it comes up again. And although you're in the honeymoon stage and you're thinking things are good, they bring that stuff up and throw it at you. Now you're right back in that cycle again. So when I saw Jamal Charlo with his wife, the ex-wife yesterday, I said, damn, my boy is caught up in that cycle. And the reason I know about it is because I used to teach it. I'm just toning it way down for y'all because y'all don't hear all them damn different terms and shit. But what I'm telling you is there's a cycle. It's a very toxic cycle. So when it comes to that, I feel bad for Jamal. But as far as the slap, I don't feel bad for him. You should keep your hands to yourself. Simple. Can't put your hands, can't definitely grabbing him by his throat. You can't grab somebody by the damn throat, man. You crazy. So I don't feel bad for that. But that being said, when it comes to those boys, the trainers, the twins, and I wonder if that's going to create any distraction because it just makes you wonder, is that going to affect the fight, the outcome of the fight at all with those guys going at it? Ma, one of my favorites, only, yeah, he says, and I don't know if he did think other people called the police yet. Somebody called the police, man. I heard there were charges being pressed, but hopefully, hopefully they diffuse it and don't let it get into that legal system. Maul, one of my favorites, but he's been tripping. I agree. As far as the boxing world, you have these personal problems. Focus on that. Put your engaging in activity. Yeah, no doubt about that. But there's something I was going to say. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to point out. Jamal Charlo, with everything he has going on, Jamal Charlo is now, I'm going to say, officially a gatekeeper. He's the first gatekeeper that I've known of to have a title. Because I really feel that's where Jamal Charlo is, where he is. I think Jamal Charlo and Keith Thurman have both, unfortunately, now become gatekeepers. Now, when you look at Keith Thurman and Jamal Charlo, this is what makes it interesting, right? And this is why I like to talk about boxing. Keith Thurman is a gatekeeper. Jamal Charlo is a gatekeeper, in my opinion, as a result of their family lives, right? Keith Thurman got married. Once he got married, his career, he did the right thing. Took care of his wife from another country, had to get her papers straight, get her over here to America, get settled, get set up, right? So Keith Thurman put his career on hold for a positive thing. That's when you're in the honeymoon stage and you stay in the honeymoon stage. You don't want to come out of it. So now Keith Thurman's coming back to boxing. He's happy. His family life is good, everything. Jamal Charlo had to put his boxing career on hold for his family, but not because of something positive. His stuff had got put on hold, and he's now become a gatekeeper because this man has 5 kids, and he can't leave his mind behind, and he obviously doesn't feel comfortable leaving his kids with his wife. That is horrible. So you got 2 guys, professional boxers, some of our favorite boxers, favorite athletes, family situations. It shows you the positive of a family situation that could cause a guy to put his boxing career on hold, which is understandable. And it can show you the downside of a boxer putting with his family situation and having to put his boxing career on hold, which is unfortunate. So now Keith Thurman, he got a situation good to go. He's ready to come back. He was ready to come back last year, but things happen. Jamal Charlo, there's no telling when he's going to come back. Now he's got to not just deal with the issue that everyone knew he had family problems. Now he got to deal with the fact he got slapped by Charlo and Plant and his wife got beat by his brother's wife. How do you come back from that? Then they have kids. His kids are going to get bullied. Then his kids, Jamel and Jamal's kids are cousins, which really should have been growing up like brothers and sisters. Now they got to deal with that. Nobody want to talk about that. They just want to make jokes about Jamal getting slapped and his wife getting beat down. Look. I understand looking at that and for a second being like, maybe she deserved it. You watch the videos, it kind of paints the picture of her looking like a mad woman. I understand, but I don't agree with it. With Jamal, him and his brother always out here shouting and carrying on, trying to fight people or say they want to fight people. You got the Herd situation, Benavidez situation. Them guys never do anything, but they all talk, right? And then finally, Jamal gets slapped. I I understand people saying that shit was overdue. Forget what he had going on with his family. He's been out here talking crazy to people. Him and his brother puffing up their chests. We call that shit a grand charge. Like, yo, you make this big rush at somebody, but you don't do nothing. And then finally, he just caught up with him. Like, you can't keep treating people like that. Let me look at the comments real quick. It says, positive and negative family situations got them out of it. I can agree with that. Yeah, no doubt about that. It's unfortunate, man. But when I think about the kids, because I'm all about the kids, that tugs at my heart a little bit, man. Because now you got the cousins. It's stupid. So what's gonna happen next? What? Jamel and Jamal go fight? And Jamel's he got a big mouth. He calling his brother, man. Just to see that yesterday. In case you guys are wondering where I saw it, go look at that guy. You know that comedian Pierre? He's the light-skinned comedian, man. He's been in a couple movies. He's real funny. But Pierre, Pierre, I think. I can't remember the first couple initials, but if you go to that Pierre comedy, Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, you type that in, and you look at his 15-minute video, and you'll see clips of a little bit of everything. And they actually are talking a little bit about what happened. But that's why I saw like Jamal and Jamel kind of getting into it. It's a real short clip, but it's just disappointing because I don't understand why they treat each other like that in front of the cameras. I just don't get it. But anyway, man, today's the day. Big time boxing. Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence. Man, I can't wait. I gotta go do some grocery shopping. When I get back, I'm gonna lift weights. I cut the grass in the front yard, I'm gonna cut the grass in the back, barbecue a little bit, and sit down and chill, man. I'm gonna go live tonight. I'm telling you, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this Crawford and Spence. I'm so excited, man. And we can go back and forth talking about who we think's gonna win that fight. No one. Forget the YouTube, the content creators. They'll say anything. But when you talk to these boxing experts, you talk to these guys who are true boxing fans, who aren't biased. It's just hard to say. Hard to say who's gonna win, man. People ask me all the time, hey man, that prediction with Inoue and against Fulton, man, you predicted that 6-7 months out. And it was spot on to the T. Man, how'd you do that? It was easy for me to come up with that Inoue and Fulton prediction because I just looked at Fulton's fights. I looked at Inoue's fights. It didn't take a rocket scientist to understand that Fulton doesn't have the power to keep Inoue off. Fulton gets on the ropes, he plays around, he tries to get cute in there. Inoue was knocking people out. This man had over 50% KO ratio as an amateur. So Inoue didn't just start knocking people out. There's no surprise that now there's no headgear. They got smaller gloves. The Inoue is out here tranquilizing people. And when I saw Fulton, what happened with him against Figueroa, I said, damn, boy, if Inoue gets his hands on Fulton, it's over. First time he touches him, Fulton's going to run. And that's what happened. So to me, it was easy to predict Inoue and Fulton. 4 pounds didn't mean anything. I knew that wasn't going to matter. Now, you talk about Spence and Crawford. Just like you all, I've been following their careers. I'm not seeing anything from the amateur days, the professional days, and any of their fights that I can sit here and comfortably say, oh, no, Crawford's got this. Or I can say, nah, Spence has it. I don't see it. I see two guys who they just know the word go. And they're intelligent, they're strong, they're mentally strong. And this is one thing that really matters. They're both willing to take risks. Man, let me tell you, there's so many fighters who don't want to take risks. Those guys will take risks. So when you put it all together, I mean, it boils down to really a 50-50 fight, man. But the whole thing now with this weight, I'm telling you, I thought it was Spence with the weight struggles, but it seems to be that it's Crawford with the weight struggles. That matters. That really does matter. and Crawford putting on that mask. To me, we're gonna see if it's a Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 3 situation. Was that mask necessary? I personally don't think so. He looked good, but I don't think so. His muscles look pumped. They look full. It's like when I used to lift weights. I'm taking my creatine, arginine, the protein, 3, 4 times a day. My muscles were full. I wasn't always, a mashed potato. At one time, I was the stud potato. But I'm telling you, your muscles look full, and that's what it looked like when I saw Terrence Crawford. His muscles look full. But we're gonna see how it goes, man. Outside of that, is there anything y'all want to talk about? We can talk about anything Spencer Crawford. I know I've been running my mouth for almost for over an hour, man. So I appreciate y'all joining me on this walk. We can talk about anything else. Uh, Crawford, Spence, Bomac. Did y'all see that box wreck? That thing of Bomac that was created to resemble box wreck to show his record and how many wins he had against these fast food uh, franchises. That made me laugh, but that shit was hilarious. Let me see if I can see these comments. It's crazy. It's crazy because Maul supposedly has a new lady, but Mel wife beat the ex. It's confusing. I try not to get into all that stuff. No more talking. Let's see who the better man is in the ring. Time. Hell yeah. It just makes you wonder what the hell going on. Like you said about Jamal, they got some stuff to work on over there. Jamel and Jamal. Makes you wonder where things go off for them twins to act like that. But nonetheless, Earl Spence seemed to be locked in. Terrence Crawford seemed to be locked in. But we know Terrence Crawford's a hothead, man. Yeah, he ain't gonna sit there and let nobody keep disrespecting him. He gotta learn to take a deep breath and blow it out. Somebody doing something that annoy you a little bit, take a deep breath, blow it out and move on. I had to learn that, man. I had to learn that, man. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta learn to talk less, listen a whole lot, and talk very little. People making that noise, your pride will get you killed, man. You know, I had to learn that as a young man. Anything, if you say anything to me, look at me a kind of way, I'd want to respond. And I remember I talked to my dad. That's what it made me wonder. Where's the guidance for Terrence Crawford? I know he's been shot in the head and all that, but I've been through my shit too. But I remember telling my dad something about people looking at me how I don't like it, telling him what I feel to do. And my dad was from the Caribbean, man. My dad's from Trinidad. He was real smart, cool as a fan. He just looked at me. He let me talk. I was talking real ignorant. And he was just sitting there chilling. He said, "You done?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "What are you, stupid?" I said, "What you mean?" He was like, "If somebody look at you, you want to kill them? You want to fight? You want to do all this crazy shit?" He was like, "Just because somebody looks at you." And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, maybe they like what you're wearing. You buy all them nice clothes. You're handsome, man. Good looking guy. You guys always getting your hair cut, got your nice clothes. You got a bunch of girls, but you want to kill somebody because they're staring at you. Maybe they're looking at you and they like something about you. Maybe they're admiring you." He's like, "But you want to go and kill somebody." And once he told me that, I think I was like 17, 18, I started to see things a little differently. Even though 8 out of 10 times it was more guys being confrontational, you know, you know how haters can be. But it makes me wonder what kind of who's advising Terrence Crawford, because you up there, you got the whole world watching, and I know the guy's being disrespectful. I know that guy in the audience was being disrespectful. But damn, you on the microphone talking the way you're talking. But then again, I understand. I understand. He got pissed off. It happens, and he felt bad about it later. Derek James felt bad about him going at Bomac. So you can see they're trying to keep it together. But these guys are fighters, man. And these guys, like they said, they act up their emotions, you know. So I don't fault them. I don't fault them. Let me get this shade, see if there's any more comments. I'm almost back at the crib. Let's see what we got here. Says, yeah, no more talking. Yep. Anything else y'all want to talk about, man? I'm gonna go live later. We go live. Oh, Pitbull Cruz. Man, I think Pitbull Cruz, I think he's gonna destroy his opponent, man. That damn Pitbull Cruz ain't no joke. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. This guy, so I'm about to go. I'm about to take my kids to the pool. We got a pool in our neighborhood, and they got these guys out here with his wife. I don't know what the fuck you think this is. You take that shit to the crib out here trying to play slow music at the pool. We about to come out here and blast some dancehall music and splash on their asses. But anyway, anything else y'all want to talk about before I get off? Almost to the crib now. I'm heading back to the house. It is hot out here. Check these comments, make sure I got everything. But that's what I got. I got I got it a 50-50 fight. But I'm not sure who's gonna win now. Toss up, man. That being said, let's see what we got. Enjoy the fights. I will, man. That being said, let me jump off of here. Get back and get my day going. I'll be back on tonight, probably between 8 and 9 o'clock to comment on the fights. Y'all keep cool. Appreciate y'all support. Y'all eat something good, man. It's gonna be a while till we get another fight like this. So make sure you don't miss it. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm in the breeze.